This is hashtag trending for Friday, May the 15th, 2026. Meta employees say Zuckerberg's AI push is poisoning the workplace. Anthropic finds a smarter way to control AI agent costs. Are U.S. companies quietly adopting Chinese AI? And Google thinks the AI laptop needs a fresh start. That's the headlines. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. There's an old line that said, "The beatings will continue until morale improves." And at Meta, some employees seem to think management has found a modern version of that. Reuters reports Meta employees are openly protesting workplace monitoring software that tracks mouse movements and keyboard activity to help train AI systems. One protest flyer that called it an employee data extraction factory expressed a concern they think is straightforward. Workers fear they're helping train the systems that could eventually replace them. But the most revealing comments may be coming from people claiming to work at Meta. In a public Y Combinator news discussion, one person identifying themselves as a current Meta employee with more than 8 years at the company wrote, "Never seen people this universally fed up." They described the culture as more cutthroat, backstabby, scope-grabby, political, and uncertain than ever before, warning of a cycle where top talent leaves and those who will drown each other to stay afloat are all that remain. Another commenter aimed directly at Mark Zuckerberg, asking, "Is Zuck too lacking in social awareness or low EQ, whatever the case may be, to understand morale? Or just so cutthroat that people who don't currently work there want the Meta paycheck badly enough that even if morale is horrible, they can just backfill departures?" Meta workers are well paid, at least on average. Median total compensation has been reported at roughly $379,000 a year. So the question isn't why people stay. The metaverse debacle consumed tens of billions of dollars and years of strategic focus only to deliver continuing losses. And AI is a much stronger bet than virtual worlds ever were, but execution still matters. Great engineers don't just write code. They solve hard problems, collaborate, take risks, and push through ugly technical setbacks to bring out great products and services. And if the culture becomes one where employees are protecting themselves instead of building aggressively, the risk isn't simply bad morale. It's a potential strategic failure. And for a company betting its future on winning the AI race while defending its core advertising empire, that's a much more expensive problem than hurt feelings. Anthropic is partially reversing a decision that infuriated developers. Last month, the company effectively blocked Claude subscribers from using third-party autonomous agent tools like OpenClaw through their flat-rate subscriptions, arguing those workloads put an outsized strain on its systems. Developers were furious, accusing Anthropic of punishing exactly the kind of ecosystem builders who helped make Claude successful. And now Anthropic appears to have found a compromise. Paid subscribers can once again use third-party agent tools, but only through a separate monthly pool of agent SDK credits ranging from roughly $20 to $200 worth, depending on the plan level, with no rollover if they aren't used. And frankly, Anthropic had little choice. Autonomous agents are not normal users. A human asks a question, gets an answer, maybe asks a follow-up. An agent can loop endlessly, call tools repeatedly, retry failures, and burn through compute at an industrial scale, especially if a developer building it hasn't optimized for token use. A flat subscription model built for chat becomes a compute arbitrage machine. What's clever here is the way Anthropic has been able to change direction. Didn't simply retreat, it changed the economic model. Instead of banning the behavior outright or letting power users quietly extract hundreds of dollars of compute from a fixed subscription, it creates hard boundaries tied to each subscription tier. No carryovers, no unlimited harvesting, and best of all for them, no surprise infrastructure collapse. This may be the first real sign that the AI industry is moving away from the fantasy of all you can eat in a time of agentic workloads. AI chat is one business, autonomous AI workers are another entirely. 80% of American startups building on open source AI are now using Chinese models. That's a dramatic claim making the rounds in a recent YouTube analysis citing Andreessen Horowitz data. Now, that number needs some context. It likely refers to startups using open-weight AI models, not all startups. And like many YouTube videos, even from those commentators that you learn to trust, some of the supporting examples deserve scrutiny too. The same source claimed companies like Airbnb and Pinterest had shifted to Chinese AI. The reality is more nuanced. Pinterest has publicly discussed moving more workloads towards open source models because the economics are compelling. Similar performance at dramatically lower cost. And reports suggest Alibaba's Qwen is part of the mix for some of those tasks. Airbnb's approach appears broader, with CEO Brian Chesky making clear the company evaluates multiple models pragmatically rather than committing to a single vendor. And frankly, that might be a bigger story. Because once you strip away the hype, what remains is arguably more important. Large American companies are clearly willing to test and in some cases deploy Chinese-origin AI models when they make business sense. That's the real competitive threat. Washington may see AI as a geopolitical arms race. Developers and business leaders often see it differently. Although you can take nothing away from these Chinese models, it may not matter who builds the absolute smartest model. It may matter who builds the model that is fit for purpose, reliable, and delivers the best business case. Google tried affordable laptops with Chromebooks. They found success in education and among budget buyers, but they never fundamentally changed mainstream personal computing. Now Google appears to be trying something much more ambitious. According to an article in TechCrunch, Google has unveiled a new line of AI-native laptops called Google Books, announced this week with a launch planned for the fall. And the striking part is the operating system strategy. Rather than treating AI as another feature bolted onto the desktop, this appears to be a rethink of the laptop experience with AI as the core interaction model. That matters because consumers haven't exactly rushed towards AI PCs so far. Microsoft's Copilot PCs promised a new generation of AI-powered computing, but for many users, AI still feels like something awkwardly pasted on to the existing Windows experience. Useful occasionally, irritating often, and rarely compelling enough to justify the hardware upgrade. Google may be betting the problem isn't AI, it's implementation, and possibly price, because this story changes dramatically depending on where Google lands from a pricing point of view. If Google Books arrive as premium devices at $1,200 or more, this becomes another interesting but niche experiment, more pixel book than mainstream disruptor. But if Google finds the kind of price point Apple appears to be chasing with its more affordable Neo strategy, something in the $500 to $800 range, this could become something more serious. Consumers don't buy AI. They buy things that make computing easier. But they also stick with what they know. So breaking users away from Windows or even Mac has always been extraordinarily difficult. Google is clearly betting that this may be one of those rare moments when the technology shift is big enough to make people rethink old habits. And there's another angle. Google may be poised to do something Apple hasn't fully nailed. Make the laptop and the smartphone feel like one coherent AI experience. If Google can tightly integrate its Pixel ecosystem with this new platform in a way that feels seamless, the appeal could get much stronger. And if Google gets the experience right, the ecosystem right, and the economics right, Microsoft may have a real fight on its hands. And that's our show. If you like what we're doing, please share the show with others. Your likes, your comments, your check marks, your 5-star ratings have had a big impact on growing the show, and that's what we want to do. We want to reach more people and share what we've got. We're found everywhere, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more, and we love to hear from you. You can reach me at technewsday.ca or .com. Just go to the Contact Us page, and while you're at technewsday.com or .ca, If you'd like to support what we're doing, please visit the Donate tab and consider contributing just the cost of a cup of coffee a month to support the show. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment under the video. I love the ones we got this week. I read and respond to them all. Just a reminder that this is the 2-4 weekend in Canada, and we'll be taking the holiday on Monday. We'll be back with the news on Tuesday morning. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a fabulous Friday.